everybody. Welcome to the OnStage Blog Theater podcast. And we're so excited today. We are here to get a report on an incredible epic trip that the Utah theater lovers just had, getting to see so many of the big new shows. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm theater critic Rachel Wagner, and we have Megan Gutierrez with us. And Megan, you are the founder and leader of the Utah Theater Lovers group, and you got to be a part of this recent trip. And I think I can't remember where it was, the in between times before when Theater Tuesday was going over to OnStage Blog. So I'm not sure if people will know who you are, but for the record, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about what you do with Utah Theater Lovers?
Yeah, so I started the Theater Lovers or Utah Theater Lovers back in 2012. We started as a meetup group, and I got tired of going to the theater alone. And I thought, oh, there's got to be other people out there who want to join me.
Yeah.
And so I started the group, and now in 2025, we're over 5,000 members. We typically try to see a show a month locally. And then back in about 2016, I started attending. I went to New York and thought, okay, there's got to be
Yeah.
people who want to travel with me. And then a member of our group who happens to be a travel agent reached out to me and said, hey, you want some help with these trips? I'm like, yeah, yes, please. Her name is Karina with All Points Travel. And so she took on the logistic portion of it, which I would have never been able to do without her. So she does all the travel portion of it. And I work on identifying the shows and working on that. And then we also partner with Tim at Broadway Up Close in New York. And he does a lot of the boots on the ground tours and whatnot back in New York. And so between the three of us, we put together these amazing trips to New York. And then we also do other theater trips as well.
Yeah. And we have an interview with Tim on the podcast, so you definitely all want to check that out.
He's amazing.
And yeah, and I've been on one of the trips, super fun. I think it was 2021 or 22. It was one of the
Maybe
first ones back.
I don't know if we did 2021, but I think we did 22.
22. Yeah, it was one of the first ones back from the pandemic, and it was so fun.
I could probably tell you which trip you went on because I keep track. I'll look in a minute.
Yeah. But it was great. And I'd wanted to go on ones sooner. I'd looked in envy, and then I finally was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it after they talked about people had like revenge travel after the pandemic. That was totally me for sure.
You went on a 2022 trip.
Okay, 2022. Yep. That's right. Yeah, and that was really fun, and I hope to get to go again. But I mean, just anybody you don't have to be in Utah to participate in the group.
No,
and also the trips, correct?
Yeah, we've had people from Canada this trip. We had several from Houston or several from Texas, Seattle, Minnesota. So it's probably 15 people from this trip were not from Utah.
Yeah. And you even, if I recall right, you even gave like a presentation at Broadway Con, right?
In 2018, we presented in Broadway Con on building theater community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a lot of fun.
So this trip, was there anything particularly challenging about this year's spring trip?
No, it was fantastic. It was a great trip. The Broadway season was really alive and had one of the fullest seasons. I think there was only 2 empty theaters. So we had like 20 new shows opening up on Broadway this year. So I think the most challenging thing was trying to pick which shows to bring to the group too, because we usually only include 3 shows. I think that was the most challenging part. The other thing that may have been a challenge is one of our bigger groups. So trying to logistically, I think we had 32 or 33 people, trying to navigate and trying to figure out how to do the group and how to do the tours and whatnot with a kind of a bigger group has some challenging logistic pieces, but it was a great group.
So you have the group shows, and then you have add-ons basically that you do.
Yeah, so we always include 3 group shows, and then we let people, we try to, anytime there's an opportunity for a show, we leave that open, and then have opt-ins for people, and then we leave open spots for people to add in shows of their own choices if they like, or go to a museum, or go see the Statue of Liberty, for the people who are going to New York for their first time.
Yeah. What do you think is special about seeing a Broadway show versus like, say, Pioneer Theater Company or, something Equity here? What do you think is extra special about Broadway?
They're new. They're new.
Mhm.
So a lot of the shows are new. It's the first time you're seeing it. Well, relatively new. Usually it takes about 7 years for a show to
Right.
get on
Yeah.
Broadway, but it's a new show. It's a new work. It's exciting to see that, and it is top tier talent. I mean, we do have top tier talent here. We have equity. But it's an amazing experience, and the energy in New York City is phenomenal. Seeing it with thousands of theater lovers surrounding you in the theater district is it's incredible.
Yeah. Do you remember the very, very first Broadway show you ever saw?
Excuse me. The theater show that really, I grew up, my parents supported the arts. So I mean, we saw like high school productions and little local community productions a little bit growing up, but the real true one that they took me to was Les Miserables. And I remember walking out of the theater and going, this is it. And this is I was born,
Yep.
born a theater lover, and from then on it was over.
Yeah, I mean, the first Broadway-esque show that I ever saw was Phantom. I saw that in San Francisco,
Yes.
probably around 1990, something like
Yep.
that.
Early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, is when I saw it with my grandma. She lived in the Bay Area, and she was kind of my mentor when it came to loving performance in general. She loved anything with like spectacle or tap dance or like Crazy for You, things like that. She loved, and she loved Phantom, the spectacle of it. Who doesn't, as far as it's that incredible part of it,
Yeah.
And so she gave me the best of Andrew Lloyd Webber cassette tape.
Oh yeah.
For Christmas one year.
It was my first CD I ever got was Phantom of the Opera with my first CD player, and I played it forever and ever and ever. It was amazing. I still have it.
And then in high school is when I was 8 is when The Little Mermaid came out. So that was my musical obsession for the animated film. And then in high school, I fell in love with Les Mis, just like you. That was when the 10-year anniversary concert was on PBS all the time.
Oh, it was wonderful.
And so that was the first show I also saw on Broadway.
Was Phantom?
Was Les Mis.
Oh, Les Mis.
On Broadway, actually on Broadway. And we got the choice. I was with a choir group. We could either go to Cats or we could go to
good choice.
Les Mis.
Good choice. Cats has a place in history. All of them do. But Les Mis on Broadway, especially the revival, the 2014 revival is got to be hands down one of my favorite productions I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the new immersive Phantom that's coming next year to Broadway?
I did hear a little bit about that. It's going to be kind of like that, like it's a non-replica, something real different.
It's going to be like Sleep No More. If you've ever heard it, they have bought a building up on 57th, and we went up there because they have started working on it, and they've got it all they've got newspapers on it, and they've got some of the newspapers are like the story of the Phantom of the Opera, and from France, of the untold story of the Phantom, pretend it's really
that's cool.
It's hilarious. So we went up there because it's all under construction. It's fantastic. So
that's going to be cool because the tour is coming to Eccles next year. So if we get a chance to see the reimagined and the traditional, that could be kind of fun.
And we'll be going, so we'll get tickets to that. And then good authority that the Jellicle Ball Cats is transferring to Broadway next year. So we'll probably be trying to get that one next year as well.
Andrew Lloyd Webber Love Fest.
I know, and a lot of people I don't love him. I love him. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think there's a place for it, like I like the, I like Sondheim, I like all the, other stuff, but I think there's a place for both styles. The sort of the more over top cheesy of Andrew Lloyd Webber. He does a lot of introductorals, is what I call them. They're not, there's no story. They're just introducing you to a lot of characters.
Right. Exactly. Like Joseph. I mean,
Joseph, Cats, Starlight Express.
Very true. Very true.
Even Jesus Christ Superstar is kind of that way.
Yeah. If you don't know the story, if you're not familiar with the Bible story, you're just like, wait, what is this? What just happened?
So, well, but this year everybody's always talking about like the high cost of the tickets, and I couldn't believe some of the ones you were able to score, like unbelievable. It's just because you have such a big group, and so you're able to kind of like make it work, or how?
Well, I mean, a lot of them we went to. I mean, the three core group shows that we went to is Picture of Dorian Gray, maybe Happy Ending, and Gypsy. So those were the three core shows that we went to. And then we opted in, for a lot of people opted into Outsiders. So almost everybody went and saw those four shows. And then a handful of people went and saw, there was, I saw personally 11 shows, but between the whole group, there was actually 19. So all the other people went and saw a lot of shows. So a handful of us went and saw Othello. A handful of us went and saw Glengarry, Glen Ross. A handful of people went and saw Good Night, Good Luck. And those were the really big ticket items, right?
Oh, yeah.
That were just astronomically expensive.
So if you don't mind, I'd love to go through these and just hear what you thought in your experience, and since I'm living vicariously through you.
Yes. So I'm fairly easy to please. I'm a fairly easy theater lover. Like, I love theater. But I can also be critical.
I was going to say, you say that, but if you get to act 2 and Megan's still in this seat, it's an exciting thing.
I do. I am also not afraid to leave at intermission. My time is very precious. I feel like it's awful, but I'm like, you've got my money. You have to earn my applause.
That's true.
it's bad, but I have very limited time. I own my own company. I have a little girl. I have very, very little time, so my time is precious. And so anyway,
now this list has a lot of plays.
I love straight plays. I love theater. I love straight plays. I love it all. My hands down, easily my favorite. Well, it wasn't easily, but it's definitely, since I've gotten home. At the time, I couldn't quite decide when I was there between Outsiders and maybe Happy Ending. Those were kind of neck and neck for me. But since I've gotten home, Outsiders is kind of, I've found myself, I'm listening to it over and over and over. And I haven't gone back to maybe Happy Ending yet. I'm sure I will. But I'm like, time will tell by which one cast I'm listening to.
Yeah, because it's 6 plays, 5 musicals, some more, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So would you say The Outsiders was your favorite of the 11? Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Outsiders was my favorite.
Had you seen it before?
No. And I go in very blind. I stayed away from all clips. I haven't seen any clips. I haven't listened to any music. I'm really good about no spoilers on any of them. I don't read reviews ever on any shows. I don't even read, I don't even, half the time, I didn't know what Good Night, Good Luck was about. Like, I have no idea.
Oh, you haven't seen the movie?
Glengarry, Glen Ross. I had no idea what any of these were about, right? I'm really good at going in fairly blind. So, and the way I listed them online were kind of in order of my preference. So John Proctor as the villain was number 3 for me.
Okay.
Have
you seen The Crucible?
I mean, I've seen it. I've read it. Yeah, I've seen. Okay. So I read it in high school. So I did know the story of The Crucible, and I knew that John Proctor as the villain had something to do with The Crucible in high school, but that's all I knew.
Yeah.
So it's a high school class that is studying the book, and they're analyzing the question: is John Proctor the hero or the villain? And it's fantastic.
Yeah, you liked it. What's the tone of that play? Is it
intense?
Intense. Okay,
super intense, super intense, super. Audience gasps, like, "Oh my gosh, did it just go there?" Like, it sets place in the Me Too environment. It's really, a really intense. Very, very good.
And because I mean, the interesting thing about that is, I thought that sort of the whole theme of The Crucible is being this metaphor of the Red Scare and McCarthyism and all that stuff that's when it was written. And so making John Proctor the villain is kind of an interesting idea, and where that takes that metaphor. I was curious when we were doing our preview. I was like, this sounds intriguing.
Oh yeah. It was really interesting. And it's just the idea of, like, he comes out kind of as this hero, and you're like, well, no. Yeah. And I don't want to give any spoilers because you have to kind of, hopefully, regionals will pick it up.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's all about sort of the women do lie, but that doesn't mean that he is like innocent of wrongdoing, but he just gets caught in the hysteria of it all. That was the whole metaphor at the time,
yeah, but
yeah.
They post very interesting questions. I don't want to say anything. They post very interesting questions.
So The Outsider's your favorite. What is it that makes it so special? What did you love about it?
Oh, the stagecraft. It's theater magic.
Yeah.
It's theater magic. It's just beautifully done. The lighting, the choreography, the dancing is just beautiful. And that's what I keep going back to. I keep finding on TikTok. I'm like, show me more clips. I want to relive the magic. I want to live the choreography. I want to and that's what I love when theater takes, lighting and choreography, and they make them characters.
Yeah.
They make it a part of the story. They use it to tell the story, and I think it's beautiful when they do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen clips of it on the Tony Awards, and then at the Thanksgiving Day parade, they did it. And dying. I wanted to go to it last December, but it was just the tickets were too expensive. And I ended up seeing other stuff, but I really do want to see it. It looks so fun. Like
it is incredible.
The dancing.
Yeah. It's incredible. And it's a beautiful story. I've loved the book since I was young. She wrote the book when she was 16 in high school and published. I've always loved the book. I've loved the movie. It's been a story that I've always loved, and it's resonated with me. So, and they just did it so well.
So that's your number one. And you said John Proctor was your number 3. What's your number 2?
Maybe Happy Ending.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is this? It's about computers or something?
It's about 2 robots. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And again, it's the ingenuity. It's the simplicity of the story. It's about connection, and again, it's the staging and the direction of it, and how they use the stage and how they use choreography. Again, they bring that in, the creativity of it, the theatricality of it. But it really is. It's just a really heartfelt musical.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And I heard it's got cool the way they use the projections and stuff. Is really creative. Yeah.
But if you want to talk about projections, you got a picture of Dorian Gray. I mean,
okay. Let's talk about that. So what did you think of this one? It's a one-woman show, right?
Kind of.
She plays a whole bunch of characters. Yes. No?
So traditionally, I would say I don't like one. I like one-person shows if they're written for one-person shows. When I was researching shows to bring the group to, I think Uncle Vanya is out there with all-star cast or all-star person that everybody loves, and I'm like, I should, but I don't. I saw Alan coming in Macbeth, and I'm like, I don't traditionally like one-person shows, especially when they play a show that was written for a lot of people. And they play one person. I'm like, this it never works. It just is confusing, and it's scattered and it's all over the place. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. But it was getting such good reviews, and she won the Olivier. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, I could leave it at the halftime.
And I wanted to give a really good lineup. So we had a very traditional musical of Gypsy. We had a new work with Maybe Happy Ending. We had the Tony Award winner from last year, Outsiders. And I'm like, this is a straight play that's really tech forward. I'm like, let's try it. And it was fantastic. It's so good. It's not her acting all these different roles. They have 2.5 hours of filmed content that she filmed the other roles. So she films and she interacts with herself. So there's actual other characters on stage at times with her in film.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah.
And so she's interacting. So the technical aspects of how she has to stand on stage is fantastic. And so you do, but at the same time, she's also switching. She'll have 3 people on stage. One is her, the film, and then she switches to the other role. And then the person in the film is glancing between the two. I mean, it is the technical Oh my gosh,
Because
it's incredible. And then
when
you've
we
got
were,
the film, then you've got the camera people all on
yeah.
stage, because there's four
Ah,
camera people having to film her, and how, the angles, flipping between the two angles when she's flipping between characters on stage. It is unreal. It is incredible.
that's good to hear because when we were doing the preview, I was like, this sounds a little boring. And, picture of Dorian Gray, like that.
Oh, it's
But it sounds like they
incredible.
made it not definitely not boring.
Well, and it's on Vanity, so it's all her.
Yeah.
And and it, the way they handle it, it lends itself really well. And so I highly
Yeah.
recommend it. And a lot of people said it was one of their favorites.
Yeah. So what did you think of Real Women Have Curves? Did you see a
Ah,
preview of this? Was it still in
I think
previews?
it, I don't know. I feel like it might still be in previews.
Yeah, yeah.
It might still be in previews. It was one of the ones I didn't want to see it. I really didn't want to see it. Everybody was like kind of thinking about seeing it, and I didn't
Have
want to
you
see it.
seen the movie?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but everybody kept talking about it. I'm like, okay, it's a Sunday night. There's not a lot showing. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, let's go. And it was one of the ones that kind of snuck in, and it was lovely. It was a
Mm,
lovely show. And again, it was another one that a lot of people on the trip just absolutely adored. The talent in it was fantastic. There was not, well, okay, there was a couple shows that I didn't love, but for the most part, a majority of the shows were all fantastic. And
mhm.
Real Women Have Curves. I mean, it's going to be, I think I would be surprised if it doesn't become a strong contender in the award season. It was
Mm.
just so good.
Oh, I'm excited to see it. I feel like that movie. I know it was a play and then it was a movie and now it's a musical. I feel like the story has like natural places for songs. Like if
It
it seems
does.
like a good pick. And I just worry though that Broadway shows have become so celebrity dependent these days that I just worry it that it's if it had like Rachel Zegler in the lead or something like that, like maybe just worry about it. I hope
Well, and
it'll.
that it's an interesting thing about Broadway becoming so celebrity dependent, because we had one of our talkbacks with Tim and Meet the Artist sessions. We get the opportunity to meet with artists from some of
Yeah.
the productions that we see. Um, and one of them made a kind of a comment that was really interesting about potentially a lot of the actors are coming from Hollywood, not necessarily to bring in the money or to raise the ticket prices, but a lot of it is because of some of the technology that we're seeing in AI. And I'm a huge AI fan. I use AI every day, and I use AI. I love it. I think it can enhance our worlds a lot. But for people who are using it poorly in trying to replace
Right.
actors or whatnot, that a lot of the Hollywood stars are realizing, like, hey, I kind of almost in a protest of saying, if you want to go ahead and replace me on film, go ahead. I'm going to
Uh,
go to the theater, because you
yeah.
can't replace that experience in the theater. And they're finding that it they're still getting that acting, and they're still getting that connections with the humans that we all love. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily just coming there to get earn, to big names and the producers, but they're coming because they're finding their love of acting, and they're coming because they're connecting with the audiences. And that's a little bit about what that what's his name, Wolverine,
Oh, Hugh Jackman.
the Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman, that
Yeah.
the Hugh Jackman project is about, is connecting with,
Yes.
it's called Together, right?
Yeah.
It's about connecting with people and bringing those prices back down, and remembering why we're doing this together.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw an interview with Steve Carell, of all people. He was on Broadway last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that, like, that, that he thinks that people are going to be turning more and more to live performance because they want something that's real. They want
Yeah.
something that's, plus, like, even as a film critic, like, so many movies are disappointing these days that you are looking to something that's real and that's flawed, that has imperfections, that
Yeah.
you, yeah, I think that,
Musicians, actors, theater, that we're hungry for it, and that's where
yeah,
people are moving towards. And
yeah,
so it's not necessarily to drive up the dollars, which it could be for some, but not
Yeah.
necessarily for all.
Yeah. Well, and also you do have to consider these big name, big ticket projects do sometimes make it possible for a smaller, more niche, more audience specific project to get greenlit because
Yeah,
we've had the success of, a bigger production.
yeah, absolutely.
So all right, well, let's go through some of these. What about the only one of these on this list that I've actually seen is Drag the Musical.
Uh-huh.
So that I had I thought that was a fun time. What did you think?
You know, I came in with really low expectations. It was
Yeah.
one of those. It was a 5 o'clock showing or a 4 o'clock showing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, another time slot I can fit in, yay!
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. It had so much more heart than I expected, and the storyline and the heart behind it,
Yeah.
and the talent. And I was like, wow, this was really good. It was a lot of fun, and it had a lot of heart and the talent. Like I'm like, where did those incredible talent and
who
voices?
who was your straight guy?
We were one of
I
it was
forget his
supposed to be
name, but
it was supposed to be Adam Pascal.
yeah.
Was the build straight guy, but
Uh-huh.
we had our understudy, and he was
Oh,
great.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I really thought it was sweet as well. I was surprised at the heart. It's really like a family show. That's the irony of it
yeah.
all. You
It really
know?
is. It really is. It was really sweet, and I thought, oh, that was just a lot of fun. It ended up being I think one or two people listed it as their favorite show of the trip.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like in my review when I was writing about it, I was like, I think that people in Utah would actually be surprised how Utah friendly it actually is.
yeah. It is.
You
It
know?
really is. It was like what show was it? Glengarry, Glenn Ross. I'm like, I don't think I've heard the F bomb more in the theater,
Yeah,
more in any other show than that one. I'm like, that
yeah.
just has so much swearing in it. I'm oh wow. And I'm not sensitive at all. And I'm like, that was a lot.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's David Mamet. He's intense that
Mhm.
way. Okay, so then you have Good Night and Good Luck. So this is obviously the big ticket project. This and Othello, which we'll talk about. But what do you think? How did George Clooney do? What do you think of the play?
It was so good. It
Mm.
was so good. Um it was just like it was a huge cast. It was probably 20 people. And George Clooney was fantastic. And I thought the production was incredible. It was so timely. It was so obnoxiously relevant. um, you know, it, sadly. And they were able to bring how they were able to make it relevant was shocking. And there was moments where the entire audience just gasped because you're like, oh, okay. And then the way they ended it was really motivational, and I teared up at times
Hmm.
because I'm like, okay, this is important.
Yeah.
And so, and sad at times, but disheartening at times, but it was very good. And I
Yeah.
think almost everybody that went with us, I think, felt the same way.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear because, I mean, it would make sense that it would be very heartfelt for Clooney because his dad was a news guy.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his
No, I
dad's
didn't
a
know
news
that.
guy. Yeah, and so it would definitely ring true for him. And he directed the movie, but he wasn't
Oh,
playing Edward R. Murrow in the movie. He was playing like one of the execs, I forget.
oh,
Yeah,
wow.
David Strathairn plays Edward R. Murrow in the movie. So anyway, he's got all these connections. So if he was going to have a strong first debut on Broadway, this would make sense for him.
Oh, yeah. He
Yeah,
was so good. And the entire cast was, it was,
that's cool.
sometimes when you get these really big stars, they outshine the cast. And
Yeah,
that was just definitely not the case. He didn't outshine, and like he was solid, and the whole cast was solid, and they all worked really
yeah.
well together.
All right. Well, tell me about Gypsy.
Uh, so I'm not a fan of Gypsy in general. I
Uh-huh.
don't love the show. I don't love the musical. I've never been a fan. I mean, on
Uh-huh.
paper, a lot of people would argue it's like the best musical of ever written. It's got
Uh-huh.
all the legends and all the people and all the stars and all the the best playwrights and the best composers and the best everybody's that ever came together in one room, right? But I've never been a huge fan of it.
I've only seen the movie. I've never seen it.
I've seen so much that I'm like, I'm not sure if I've ever seen it, because it's not a favorite, so I may or may not have seen it. But the talent was incredible. Everybody was fantastic, and holy cow, Audra McDonald! Like, there's a reason that woman has won so many Tony Awards.
7.
Oh my gosh, she makes a believer out of me. Like, I still can say it's not my favorite, but like the Mama Rose song in the second act.
Yeah,
I was in tears. She gets a standing ovation, and I don't know if I could. It will go probably down in my top 10 theater moments of my life.
Oh wow!
It was. I can't. It left me breathless. It was incredible. To be her, like, the emotion was like you could like reach out and hold it. Mm-hmm. How, like, I can't even explain what it was like to be in that room. I have never experienced anything like it. I mean, I have ensemble like feelings like in Les Mis, you feel that whole thing, or Dorian has some moments like that, but on personal levels. But that, I'm like, that was just her. She's unreal.
Well, it must have spoken to you too, just like being a mom,
No, because she's a crazy mom. I'm not that kind of mom.
I know.
No, it was her. It was her, just her wanting to be more, wanting to be her being human. It was just the human condition of wanting to be Mama Rose. It was her wanting to be a mom, but not her being imperfect, but her wanting more for her life and not achieving it. It was all of those things, and just not.
I think she's gonna win again. It'll be 8.
I don't know how
8 for her. 8 for her. That's incredible.
I mean, she's gonna. What other musical?
Well, it's like everyone's saying that, like, her and Nicole Scherzinger, the big, like.
Oh gosh, Nicole! No, there's no. I saw Sunset Boulevard, and Sunset Boulevard was amazing. There's no question. There's no competition there.
Yeah.
There's none. Like, when Nicole got a standing ovation, and I'm sorry, but I was like, why are we standing? I'm like, are we standing because it's Nicole? I don't even know how to say it. I feel like we were standing because it was her, not because of the performance.
Yeah. I just think I would be so irritated by that whole camera stunt thing that they were doing for Sunset Boulevard.
To go outside?
Yes.
I think it was the coolest thing ever. It was so cool. I loved it. That was another TikTok thing that I'm like obsessed with. I'm like, show me more. Show me short. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. That is the reason I bought a ticket, is when I saw them do it in London. I'm like, I went and bought a ticket that day.
See, when I saw it, I was like, I can't think of anything more obnoxious. I'm like, I paid to see the show. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know.
It is so cool. It is so cool because then you're sitting there and then they walk right by you. It is the coolest thing. Yeah. Oh no, I loved it.
That's good. All right. So Glengarry, Glen Ross, you said, is a lot of potty mouth going on here. But what did you think of the play as a whole?
I loved it. It was so good. So this one is like, I've heard that it could be tighter, and I probably agree with that. It doesn't feel like, walking out of it didn't feel like as intense as it could have been, but also it was just such a ride to sit there and sit back and see so many top tier talented actors and people just sit into their craft and take you for a ride, because you are just like the entire time going, oh my gosh, that is incredible. Like, it is like watching so many. And you asked at the beginning, like, how is it seeing a show in New York versus here? That is the epitome of it. It is like a step above, and you're just going, what just happened? I
mean, that cast is really, that cast.
It's just sharp.
Kieran Culkin, Bob Odenkirk, Bill Burr, Michael McKean.
Oh my God. Yeah. And see, tell me let me tell you, I am a theater person. I'm not a Hollywood person. I don't know any of those people. I don't know any of those people. Everybody's like, that's a great cast. I'm like, okay, why?
Well, it's interesting because Bill Burr and Michael McKean are known for being comedians.
I don't know them.
Yeah, they're like, well, they're like stand-up kind of like comedians. And then Bob Odenkirk, he did. Have you ever heard of Better Call Saul? Have you ever heard of that show?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, so that's him. That's him. Yeah.
Is he really? Yeah. I did watch. Well, no, I watched it was what was the original movie?
Oh, Breaking Bad.
I watched Breaking Bad. I didn't spin off into Better Call Saul, but I did watch Breaking Bad. But see,
so yeah, and then Kieran Culkin, he just won the Oscar.
So I've been told.
Yeah.
For what though? Like, I don't watch movies. I don't watch Broadway. I watch theater and I read books.
Yeah, and he was called A Real Pain. It's quite good. It's kind of a dark comedy about these two cousins that their grandma has just passed away. Their grandma was a Auschwitz survivor, and so they're going on a like pilgrimage basically to Poland to visit Auschwitz in honor of their grandma. And Kieran's character is a lot. He's very challenging, but like the script is just so good and his performance is so good that it was one of my favorite movies of all last year.
Okay. I might have to, I'm going to say I might have to look it up, but I won't because theater.
If you have Disney Plus, I think it's on there.
Okay, I do. So I keep the things for the little one. But when she's not around,
for the little one, but it is. It's either
no.
It's either on Hulu or Disney Plus. I'm not sure, but
I will not. Sounds like a dark comedy about Auschwitz. No, I'm not going to give that one to the little one.
It was great,
but they were incredible cast. Yeah. Again, I don't know any of them, but you could just tell they were so just on top of it.
That's cool. All right. So then you saw Oh Mary. Was this your first time seeing this?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you think?
It is not my cup of tea.
Okay.
It is, though, with that said, I knew going in it wasn't going to be my cup of tea. But it was better than I expected. Okay. Less not my cup of tea than I expected. Talented. The person who played the person who played Mary was very, very talented. The cast was all very talented, and I think the script, was very well done. The story was, okay, there is actually a good story here. It's not just stupid humor all the way through is what I expected it to be. I expected a lot of just cheap humor just to get laughs, and it wasn't that. So there was actually some really good, there was a really good script, and the acting was really solid. I expect that it may do well in the award season for what it is. It is not my thing, but I could see why. I think it may have been. It might have been the tickets. I mean, they were close to $300. I mean, astronomical.
Well, it's been incredibly successful because it was originally just announced it was off Broadway, and then it was so successful that it then went to Broadway, and then it was only going to be a limited run. And it was so successful, they just kept expanding it, and getting replacements because it was like Cole Escola's big show, that he did, and they were able to find replacements, and it's exciting to see something it's exciting to see something that's successful just on its own merit, as opposed to like something like obviously like Othello or these ones it's more other factors that are coming in and boosting it. Like this is just because people thought it was good.
It is so original. It's so unique. It's funny. It's nothing you would ever expect. It definitely leans into the queer community, and I'm queer, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. And I support that, and so I'm proud of what it is. But it's just not. It's not my thing.
Did you make it through the whole
Yeah,
whole
I
thing?
don't think there's an intermission.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But I probably would have stayed. I would have. I think I may have. I think I
Yeah.
would have stayed. I
Yeah.
made it through all of the shows this year, but like half of them didn't have intermissions. It was wild.
Oh, that's interesting. You think that's a
So
new trend?
many. Yeah, there was so many, and a lot of them were like 2 solid hours without intermissions. It was wild. Yeah.
Uh, I like having an intermission. I'm even a fan of it in movies. There was this movie last year called The Brutalist,
Hmm.
and they had an intermission. It was great.
I'm gonna go the other way. I like less intermission because hey, like get my time. I'm like, get me in, get me out. Like, just be done with it. Like, if
Yeah.
you don't waste my time. Um, and I don't have to wait in the stupid lines in Broadway for the theater for the bathrooms. Just let me get back to my hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let us know if you're listening what you think. Where do you stand? Intermissions? No intermissions.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and if they have good like bathrooms, that's another conversation.
Yeah. Last year I saw, I think it was the Lehman trilogy. That was, I think, my first one I've ever been to where there were two intermissions. That
Yes,
was a
I've
new
seen a
one.
handful with two
Yeah.
intermissions. Lehman Trilogy. I've seen the Angels in America has they had the writers did another show.
Mm,
Oh, that's like 4.5 hours long. Yeah,
that's intense. That's
yeah.
intense. Well, the last one we want to talk about is Othello. So you got the hardest ticket in New York to get is Othello right now. You got it. Have you seen Othello before?
Yeah,
Like Shakespeare Festival?
several times.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So what did you think? You got Jake Gyllenhaal, Denzel Washington.
Yeah, so I think Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic. I've never seen him on stage. I thought he was
Uh-huh.
fantastic.
Okay.
I did not like it.
Oh, just the show is in general.
Yeah,
You
I
didn't
like
like it.
Othello. Othello, I'm not a
Okay.
huge. I mean, Hamlet's my favorite Shakespeare. Othello is great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a minimalist production, which for the
Okay.
price of the ticket, I'm like, come on, use a chair. Um, but okay, they probably
Yeah,
used a chair.
I agree with
Um,
you.
but like it was very, very minimalist, which was fine.
So
Um,
Denzel didn't blow you away.
Not at all.
Oh, interesting.
But what bothered me the most, and I'm gonna I'm gonna preface this. I don't mind age gap relationships. I really don't. Again, in the queer community, I'm pretty open minded. I don't mind age gap relationships. Denzel Washington is 70. Desdemona is 27.
So it's a lot.
It's a lot. You
Yeah.
have to be able to pull it off. There was absolutely zero chemistry. I didn't buy
Yeah.
it for a second.
Yeah.
At first, it didn't dawn on me that it was an age gap, age thing. At first, I'm like, there is no chemistry here at all. It feels off. It feels weird to me. And the
Yeah.
more I thought about it, I'm like, it feels like he's her grandpa.
Yeah. That's a problem because the whole point of the story is about envy and it has to feel real. Like,
I mean, spoiler alert. Hopefully, you guys have all seen it, but like, he kills her in the end because of like
yeah.
how much he loves her, and it's this whole jealousy and how
Envy.
much the Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal character plants it. Like, and then she has to be believable that she falls in love with this other character, which he's like 30. I'm like, of course she's gonna fall in love with the 30-year-old hot stud when
Yeah.
there's no chemistry there. And I didn't love Denzel's acting. I really didn't.
Interesting. Yeah.
He felt sadly tired. I mean,
Yeah.
granted he's 70, but I've
Kind
also
of
seen
stiff.
Bernadette Peters at 80 who did Hello Dolly and she blew my mind away, right?
Yeah.
Almost 80. And she was up there marching across the stage as Hello Dolly and she was incredible.
Yeah.
And Denzel like had to get down on the floor at one point. I'm like, are you going to be able to get up, friend?
Yeah.
It just did
It's
not
a demanding
work.
role. It really is.
It is. And then he, at this scene where he kills her in passion. I'm like, are you done yet?
That's funny.
So I did. So
Yeah.
I told you I love most shows. I've loved all of them. And, it was generous to O'Mary and Othello. I'm just like, wow. That did not work. But my friend who's never seen Othello, never seen another production, she loved it. She loved it.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it, I think once at Shakespeare Festival. I saw it once there. But I wish that, because I'm not that big of a Romeo and Juliet fan. So I wish that more companies would do Othello and some of these other ones as opposed to Romeo and Juliet.
See, and I like I think Romeo and Juliet can be done if done a little bit more edgy, like not so traditionally. When it's done traditionally, it's just, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But it can be done. I've seen some good productions of it. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, very good. That's incredible that you saw 11 shows, and nobody's going to like everything. That's part of the fun. That's rolling the dice about a Broadway show. You don't, it's new, so you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. That's part of the fun of it, I think.
And I've had trips where I haven't really been impressed with anything. So the fact that like 10 out of, well, 11, actually it's like eight out of 11 I really, really enjoyed. And I had a hard time even like ranking the top 6 or so. I'm like, this is, it's one of the better trips I think we've seen in years. And I think that other people enjoyed it. And we had a really hard time picking shows. And then we had, 19 shows that people saw, and they really liked it and loved Tim, the most.
Oh yeah. So your next trip is, you've got Shakespeare Festival.
Yep, in
August, right?
Yep.
And I will be joining you for that one.
Yes, you are. And we're almost sold out. So like it's already, we're thinking we might have to add another group.
My normal co-host Jax, she's going to be going as well.
Excellent.
So both of us. So that'll be, you're going to meet her.
Fun.
Yeah. And so that would be awesome. And then you have a fall trip.
Well, we'll do New York again. We'll do New York next spring again. And then we're trying to figure out when we want to do London, because we're watching Greatest Showman. And because it's announced that they're going to be opening Greatest Showman. And we're trying to figure out kind of when we want to see that and how. And
that would be fun.
And we want to bring the group.
Yeah. That would be really fun. Well, very good. If people want to join the group, how do they do that?
So we've got a couple ways. We've got Theater Lovers on Meetup. So if you just search Theater Lovers, you can join on Meetup. We're on a little bit of a hiatus right now. And so we're taking a little bit of a pause, but I think we're going to be picking up here soon again. But all of our theater trips are planned through there. You'll get notices there. And then you can also join Utah Theater Lovers on Facebook. And all of the information is usually posted on there. You can sign up on our website. I think hopefully still, it's been a minute since I checked our website, but you can sign up for our newsletter. And hopefully we'll be announcing trips through our newsletter as well.
So I'll definitely check it out.
Or theaterloversexperience.com is the website.
It's a really fun, even just the Facebook group is really fun to see what the other people are seeing. And because it's all just a patron focused group, which is really fun.
Yep.
So, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, Rotten Tomatoes, and rachelsreviewstheater.com. So check that out, and make sure you're following OnStage blog for all of your theater news and updates, and check out the playlist for all the podcast episodes. We covered a lot of different stuff. They're really fun. Take a look at that. And thanks so much, Megan, for coming on and talking with us and sharing with us about your amazing trip.
Well, thanks for having me as always. Always enjoy it. Thanks, Rachel.